Good day, everyone. We are the group 5, and this is our summary about the midterms reporting from group 1 to 5. And I'm with my group. First, yours truly, Leonor Asbaliana. Second is Miss Angelina Benoro. Third is Miss Ravi J. Cordova. Fourth is Miss Josephine Pertes. And last is Miss Alia May Valenzuela. The first group to report is a group 1. They tackle about choosing instructional media, principal factors to be noted in instructional media, making the best choice, factors in selecting instructional media, efficacy of choosing technology, and 7 principles in choosing. First, they discuss about instructional media. By making the best choice, they define instructional media is a tool used by teachers to explain material in the classroom, which is anything that can be used to stimulate children's thoughts, attentions, and feelings to encourage the learning process. Second is, what is the purpose of media? The purpose of media is to facilitate communication and learning. The purpose of common media use in classroom are printed materials, diagrams, video, television, computer programs, and instructors. And these are the types of instructional media. First is a print, second is a visual, third is audiovisual, fourth is static or display, fifth is electronic. In print media according to them is one of the oldest and basic form of communication. They are paper publications circulated in the form of books, pamphlets, journals, and textbook. While on non-printed media naman are those on which printed words or visual are not directly represented, such as magnetic tapes and digital recordings. And the visual media is a colloquial expression used to designate things regularly viewed on billboards, smartphones, newspapers, screen projectors, poster, television, computers, and various other mediums. And in static or digital media is a fast-paced startup with team and is passionate about creating quality content. Some examples of static media are the text, the non-animated images, the maps, and the graphics. And lastly, about the audiovisual. Audiovisual is electronic media possess both a sound and visual component, such as slide tape presentation, films, television programs, corporate conference, church service, live theater productions. Next, they also tackle about the kinds of printed materials used in teaching. The first is the textbook. Textbook is a semantic arrangement of subject matter designed to assess the instructor in a particular content to student at a specific grade or year level. Second is the supplementary materials provide the best sources of idea and information, particularly on current topics otherwise not available from textbooks. Example of these are the pamphlets, handouts, and journals. Also, the printed media has a advantages and limitation. The advantages of printed materials are readily available on the wide variety topics and in many different formats. Second, it is adaptable in any lighted environment, and it's handy and does not require any equipment or electricity. Printed materials like worksheet allow learners to practice skills. And five is it is an extensive to produce, purchase, and can be reused. The limitation of printed materials in teaching are: first, the non-readers or poor readers may not benefit from the printed materials in such as these materials are sometimes above reading level of the learners. Second is some teachers require students to memorize facts and definition, thus these materials are reduced to become mere memorization aids. And lastly is other teachers become bookish, making the textbooks a subject itself. Next, they tackle also the printed materials as teaching aids. First is teachers should maximize the learner's active involvement in class discussion. Third is provide worksheet and handouts for topics which are not part of the textbook. Next is teachers should complement the use of printed materials with other instructional media. Next is teachers should refer to new and updated book. And lastly is the teacher should be taught to evaluate and discriminate what they read. Next is the graphic material. Graphic are instructional materials which present summarized information and ideas through drawings, words, pictures, symbols. And these are generally abstract. And these are the example of graphic materials. Drawing and illustrations, poster, charts, cartoons, diagram, graphs, maps, and globes. They also tackle the drawings and illustration, its function, limitation, and advantages. First, the functions. The first in functions is giving faces to characters in the story. Second is displaying a number of examples of an item described in the textbook. Third is visualizing stepwise step of instruction in technical manual. Fourth is communicating subtle thematic tone in a narrative and development student aesthetic values. The advantages of drawing and illustrations are they are, can be prepared ahead of time by having it drawn on the board and covered until the class starts. They can be easily prepared once the materials are available. They are also easily to utilize because they do not require special equipment. Aside from functions and advantages, drawings and illustrations has its limitations. First is drawings could be subject to misinterpretations. Second is technical expertise in drawing could be needed to produce good drawing and illustrations. Next is they discuss also about charts. Charts are instructional materials which represent relationships such as chronologies, quantities, and hierarchies. These are the example of charts. Process charts, classification charts, STEAM tree chart, tabular chart, timeline chart, organizational chart. Chart as teaching aid. Chart as teaching aid has its advantages and limitation also. First, its advantages, it can present summaries of information, it can be easily made by students, it does not require special equipment. And in its limitation is charts cannot show motion. Big charts can be cumbersome to handle. Charts can be outdated. The utilization guidelines. Plan well to make sure chart fits the lesson. Parts of the chart should be clear, neat, and detailed enough to vivid viewing. Use pointers to identify the proportion. In presenting the chart, attach it on a wall rather than holding it. Next is factors in selecting instructional media. First in factors in selecting instructional media is the relevance of media to the lesson. First is the objective. A medium should be able to convey the clearest possible way the highlights of the lesson. And these are the relevance of media to the lesson. These are the example, the projectors, computers, and writing on the board. Second is sustainability, students' age, learning abilities, and styles and reading level. Pictures could be effective for grade 1 pupils but not for high school students. Example of this is those kids is making of something. The next is accuracy and novelty of media. The media should be up to date, reflecting current thought, original or revised. Provision of learning participation. Dioramas and exhibition could entail more participation of learners and pictures or graphs. Fifth is the appeal. Pictures, especially colorful ones, could be more aesthetically pleasing than other media. Motion media could be more attention-grabbing than still pictures. 6 is the availability. The medium should be obtained when needed. The school's media center could consulted of media collection. Aside from the media center, our homes could be potential source of media. Ease in the use of operation if the media. Some media like maps, graphs can be easily used while other media like computers and projectors need tactile expertise. 8 is a learning environment. Projected media by work better for video classes demonstration, role-playing and simulation can be done in the classroom are big. These are the example of room should be needed. If a certain medium is very expensive, other medium which could be delivered some content can be used to replace it. The medium could be expensive not only in cost but also in the time consumed in preparing the medium. C is efficacy of using technology. The reporter asks, what is the ICT? ICT stands for Information and Communication Technology. It deals with the use of different communication technologies such as mobile phones, telephone, internet to manage information. And these are the types of technology we're currently using in our school. You have calculator, laptop, old computer, printer, audio ng chatter type player, and this other one, and also board and typing. Next is the three domain of educational technology. The three domains of educational technology are technology as tutor, technology as teaching tool, technology as learning tool. Rules of technology for teachers and teaching. First, there are numerous rules that technology plays in the job of learners as a tool. Technology has opened wider avenues in management of resources and management of learning. Technology provides numerous support to the teacher as facilitator of learning. It transforms passive classroom to an active interactive one with audio, visuals, charts, and model e-learning classroom which motivate increased attention level of learners. Second is technology modernize the teaching learning environment. The teacher are assisted and supplemented with appropriately structured instructional media for daily activities. And lastly, as technology improves teaching learning process and ways of teaching. Next is technology for learners and learning. The first of technology for learners and learning is declarative knowledge. Declarative knowledge, as we remember, that is the what, who, when, and where. Second is instructional knowledge. As we remember, it is a combined declarative knowledge to attain some from of meaning. Third is the procedural knowledge, a knowledge to how to do something. Fourth is technology enhances learners' communication skills through social interaction. Technology upgrades learners' higher overthinking skills, critical thinking, problem solving, and creativity. Empowers educators to efficiency, personalized learning with access to data content and cloud. Prepares students for the 21st century workforce with the modern technology skills and competencies. Help educators create blended learning environment that make learning relevant to students' lives. Give educators access to real-time feedback through digital formative and assessment data. The pros and cons of technology in education. Let's always remember that technology in education always has a positive and a negative. The pros in using technology in education is using technology can excite young students. The con is use of technology can distract students. The pros is prepare students for the future. The con is remove children from opportunities for socialization. The pros is technology encourages spontaneous learning. Technology can learning, and the con is technology can discourage creativity. And the last report about 7 principles in choosing. First is the interaction between students and teacher, assigning more tasks to the students with the teacher monitoring them. Second is student-to-student interaction. Peer-to-peer relationship is established and students can be performed better. Third is active learning known as experimental learning, trial and error by learning by doing. Fourth is the teacher rapid feedback. Teacher gives comments, remark in case of students need a boost. Fifth is time on task. This principle is about suitability of material for students who have other responsibilities and different schedules. Six is expectation of students' ability to learn. Instructor in online education generate a lot of innovative lessons and students can readily avail of. And lastly is the reset of different talents and ways of learning. Diversity is always present among learners. That is my report about the Group 1. Now, we proceed to the next reporter to present the summary of Group 2.
Hi everyone, I am Angelina A. Pinaoro, and now we are going to summary the Group 2 report, which is about the technology integration. So, technology integration, it is a utilization of digital technologies for problem solving, in-depth learning, and comprehension is known as technology integration. Technology makes content more accessible, but it is not curriculum itself. Teacher assist their pupils in obtaining and comprehending educational content by employing technological as a tool. So they also include two frameworks for technology integration, the TPAC model and the SAMR model. The first one we have is the TPAC model. So this model helps teachers consider how their knowledge domains intersect in order to effectively teach and engage students with technology. So in TPAC model, identify the three forms of knowledge. These are the pedagogical knowledge, the technological knowledge, and the content knowledge. The first one we have the technological knowledge. So technological knowledge focuses on comprehending educational technology or taking into account its potential for a particular topic, area, or a classroom. So learning to identify what it will support or abstract learning and continuously learning and adjusting to new technological advancement. And now the second one is pedagogical knowledge. So it serves as a helpful reminder that the teachers create a lessons based on how students will learn the particular course material. It can be also used in more specialized contexts such as lesson design and student assessment. Is content knowledge. So it describes the subject matter expertise of the professors themselves. A given subject's concepts, theories, supporting data, and organizational frameworks may be all included in content knowledge, as well as the best practices and tried and true methods for imparting this knowledge to the students. And the second framework for technology integration is Dr. Ruben Puentedura developed the SAMR, meaning substitution, augmentation, modification, and redefinition paradigm that directs the process of reflection on how we are using technology into our classroom. So the substitution or the foundation of the SAMR model is substitution. At this point, technology completely replaces conventional approaches. A computer program for writing plain text would be a nice illustration of this. So the straightforward program serves as a replacement for pen and paper with little no practical modification and modest improvements to student learning. So the second one is augmentation. When technology begins to augment the educational experience of students by introducing the previously inaccessible features and functionalities, this is known as augmentation. In keeping with the previous example we had, we switch from a simple text editor to Microsoft Word. So that is the augmentation. And the third one is modification. It is where technology starts to change a student's learning process in ways that are just feasible with conventional approaches. Consider the Google Docs as an illustration or as an example. We could improve the formatting of the original text content using Microsoft Word. We now have newly added the layer collaboration using Google Docs, which has the potential to revolutionize the writing process. Redefinition. So the model final layer is redefinition. So the learning process is being totally redefined by technology in previously unthinkable, impossible ways. For example, we can elaborate all over the world to use technology to augment our original material into audiobooks, films, ebooks, comic strips, and others example, radically changing the learning process in the process. So we are done in the frameworks for technology integration. So let's move on to the stages of technology integration. So here are the stages in technology integration. The access to computers is frequently an issue is at the enter stage. Technology becomes thoroughly integrated into teaching patterns at the adaptation stage, and project-based learning activities are common and students are self-directed. Students design their own learning pathways and teachers use new form of assessment at the transformation stage. So there are three stages to technology integration: the entry stage, the adaptation stage, and the transformation stage. And they also include the four effective technology integration. These are the active engagement, participation in groups, frequent interaction, and feedback and connection to real world. And next, we have the benefits of technology integration into instructional process. So these benefits are engagement, collaboration, inclusion, differentiation, productivity, creativity, automation, and future focus. So there are 8 benefits of technology integration into instructional process. So those are the benefits of technology integration into instructional process. So the teachers can use technology to convey a material in more engaging and original ways. Students now have instant access to a wide range of activities and information sources. And technology enables individuals to write, spell, read, and perform mathematical computation can be useful for some students who receive special education. And it can significantly help teachers to find extra time in the day, which is something they are constantly striving for, discussing their lessons to students. And if the students have a say in what they make, technology may foster creativity. So now let's move on to the types of technology integration. So they mention the 3 types of technology integration. So the project-based activities incorporating technology, game-based learning and assessment or GBA, and learning with mobile and handheld devices. So, as we all know that technology integration is such a broad term that encompasses so many different tools and activities. It can be challenging to explain how technology can affect learning. There are many different ways that technology can become an essential component of the learning process. These are only a handful of the approaches. Nevertheless, new technical tools and concepts being developed every day. And now let's go to the online learning and the blended learning. E-learning. In e-learning, the students access the resources online. E-learning is frequently used in online classrooms, degrees, and courses. So it is a self-paced learning. It's because it is advantageous for the students, and an online platform gives them the opportunity to select the learning environment of their choice. So we have here different platforms that we can use in online learning and blended classroom. So we have here instructional tools like interactive whiteboards and students' response system, web-based projects, exploration and research, students created media like podcasts, videos, or slideshows, collaborative online tools like Quizzes or Google Doc, and using social media to engage students. So that's all the summary of the technology integration.
Good day, everyone. I'm Ravi Joy Cordova, and here is my summary about the report of the Group 3 entitled Technology for Teachings and Learning in the Elementary Grades. So, first, let's define the cognitive learning and technology tools. Cognitive learning helps students explore and understand how ideas are connected, while technology tools are tools that the teachers and students use in their lesson and discussion, and helps to improve the learning of the student through this. And also we have mind tools, are technology application that allow learners to stimulate, organize, visualize, or reflect on idea, information, and object. The example of mind tools are semantic organization tools, dynamic modeling tools, information interpretation tools, knowledge construction tools, and conversational and collaborative tools. So the next ones is traditional and contemporary views of technology. So the traditional technology is for the presentation of work. The overhead projector was used, while contemporary technology is for the presentation of work. The multimedia projector is used. We have here also the emerging theories that support the use of technology, which are the situated cognition and the distributed cognition. So situated cognition is a learning theory which supports the idea that learning occurs course only when situated within a specific context. It believes that learning takes place in a learning community or community of practice where the learners take an active role in the learning community. While the distributive cognition, the student is afforded more power. In other words, it is a student-centered approach to learning where the learners participate in a systematically designed learning environment that support interaction amongst its participants. So the last one is socially shared cognition. Socially shared cognition, learners are participants in a community where the cognition is shared between the participant, the artifacts and tools they are using, and the social institution in which the learning occurs. Blended learning is about finding better ways of supporting students in achieving the learning objectives and providing them with the best possible learning and teaching experience, as well as supporting teachers in their profession. So we have models of blended learning. So 6 models of blended learning are face-to-face driver model, rotation model, flex model, online lab model, self-blend model, and the last one is online driver model. So the face-to-face driver model is of all the blended learning models, face-to-face driver is the closest to a typical school structure. So rotational model is the form of blended learning. Students rotate between different situations on a fixed schedule. So flex model, in this approach, materials is primarily delivered online. Online lab model, in this student learn entirely online but travel to a dedicated computer lab to complete their coursework. Self-blend model, in this individual will attend a traditional school environment. They also option to supplement their learning through online courses offered remotely. So next is online drive model. In this form of blended learning, students work remotely and materials is primarily delivered via an online platform. So the benefits of online blended learning are inclusion of more differentiated personalized instruction, increased access to resources, experts, and learning opportunities, more authentic and student-driven tasks being incorporated into the curriculum, higher student engagement, greater opportunity for collaboration, especially the classroom and involving the wider school community, better access to infrastructure, and anytime, anywhere learning. So the advantages of blended learning: an increase in learning outcomes, an opportunity of students to practice technology skills in navigating online courses, materials, and creating their own digital content for assessment, an increase in student teachers and student interaction through the use of communication tools like discussion forums, blogs, and share web content on the electronic whiteboard. Con- Conclusion about this blended learning: adopting blended learning approach offer the appeal of combining different learning elements using the power of ICT while retaining the human touch. It can be concluded that synchronous communication environment should coexist with asynchronous one.
The summarization about the report of Group 4 on their topic, Innovative Technologies for Assessment Tasks in Teaching and Learning. CT and assessment in learning. When we say assessment, it is discovering, acquiring, and interpreting data on a student's progress. There are 4 types of assessment. Formative assessment, it is feedbacks or informations are gathered during the instructional process. Summative assessment, sum up the teaching and learning process. Diagnostic assessment, identifies students' current aptitude. And authentic assessment, it reflects students' learning achievement, motivation, and attitudes in instructionally relevant classroom activities. The 21st century assessment includes increasing the use of technology, focus on the growth and development of the learners, and differentiating the rules and responsibilities. The concept of classroom has been shifting in recent years. Information travels at the speed of light, and information becomes vital to our personal and national well-being. Educational technology used to increase the efficiency of education, like computers, the future of teaching and learning, promote the development of learning, create attractive and effective learning environment, introduce new exciting and innovative for students engagement, and teachers can incorporate active learning activities. Online learning initiatives of fail to engage and teach students, while active learning is living activity which students interact or engage. Parents help learner engage in learning experiences. Teacher gives activities that are intentional, meaningful, and useful. Activities which involves students' interaction with content. When we say the assessment tools, it considered in choosing appropriate assessment tools like goals of assessment, methods of assessment, either direct or indirect, and the interval in giving assessment. During teaching, teachers not only have to communicate the information they have planned, but also continuously monitor students' learning and motivations in order to determine whether modifications have to be made. By Erashan 2005. Choosing appropriate assessment tools, we have direct methods and indirect methods. Indirect methods are examinations, written assignments, presentations, and performance, and etc. While in indirect methods, it can provide a useful supplement and check on the findings from direct measures. In selecting appropriate assessment tools, whether conventional or ICT-based assessment, it could be measured the desired level of performance, cost-effective in terms of effort, time, and money, useful tools that will produce as results that will provide information that can be used, reasonable, accurate, and truthful, and dependable, consistent response over time. In creating and utilizing a rubric, when we say rubric, it is a set of criteria determining task score. Its purpose is to assess students. So we have two types of rubrics. The analytic rubric, which is works described on each criterion, and holistic rubric is by applying all the criteria. Electronic portfolio, known as portfolio, digital or online portfolio, collection of electronic evidence assembled and managed by a user, and demonstrate the user's abilities and platforms for self-expression. So there are four types of portfolio. First, the ideal portfolio contains all work of students. Second is professional e-portfolio, demonstrate highlights of students' academic career. Documentation portfolio, the collection of work over times. And lastly, learning e-portfolio, part of a learning activity.
The instructional media defined as a materials used of a teacher to implement and facilitate students' achievement of instructional objectives. This may include the traditional materials such as chalkboards, handouts, real objects, and as well as the newer materials such as computers or gadgets, and the internet and the interactive video conferencing. The teacher used the instructional media to support their lesson or gain attention, support learning through examples and visual elaboration, and assess performance of the students. Edgar Dale classified the instructional media into 10 experiences. He is an American educationalist who developed the cone of experience. The cone of experience consists of bands which arrange media use in learning experiences. There are verbal symbols, it is through medium of communication. Visual symbols, it is through as chalkboards, charts, diagrams.
Recordings, radio, still pictures. It is through visual and auditory devices. Television and motion pictures. It is through a video presentation or presenting movement using the television or other device used to show the learners the continuity of the events. Exhibits. It is through presenting an objects or exposure of new ideas or invention of an artist. Demonstration. It is through an explanation or showing a process on how to do the task and the students making their observation into it. Field trips. It is through experience in different places that they don't encounter in the classrooms. Dramatized experience. It is through learners portraying the character or what their role in such experience or they are having an act in a certain realities. Contrive experiences. It is through operating a concept of reality in editing such as to show them a solar system. Direct purposeful experiences. It is through direct participation with responsibility for the outcome. It means the learners do their task without help of a teacher, or it may also a group activity that they will create or present the recipe or the outcome of their task. The principles on the cone of experience for the learners have the opportunity to use a variety senses such as sight, smell, hearing, touching, movement. The cone of experience have different rule for students for them to be engaged in different concept of learning experience in the classroom. Jerome Bronner also devised another classification of media which aligned to Dale's cone of experience called threefold analysis. The threefold analysis are inactive, it is through a sequence of an action; iconic, it is through a series of illustrations or an image; and symbolic, it is through a series of symbols such like presenting a language words that the learners will read or learners read a books in the learning experience. The implication of cone of experience in teaching learning process. The teacher is not only using one medium of instruction. Instead of this, the teachers use many instructional materials to help the learner conceptualize their experience. And also, the teachers avoiding to teach directly in symbolic level of without a solid or unfinished books or rootless experience of a materials. When teachers teach, they don't get stuck in the concrete or sensory experience. Instead, bring the students into a symbolic or abstract level. In this, they have their own ability to develop their higher order thinking skills. The tips in choosing instructional media are: adjust type of media with curriculum materials. It is considered appropriate to present the subject matter desired or select the media that is suitable for all the materials that you want to use. Affordable of financing. You may also consider the availability of the materials that you needed based on the cost or the budget that may fit in your instructional media. Hardware availability for use of instructional media. If there is no availability of devices in the classroom, you may also have a different kinds of simple media such as audio cassettes or transparency media. This is too simple to use and not too hard to learn and operate. Availability of instructional media in the market. This is important when the schools want to purchase instructional media or hardware for utilized learning experience of the students. They must book in advance in the market so that the hardware that they want to use is available and complete. Last tips is of using instructional media. In making an instructional media, it is not easy for the teachers. They must have their effort to develop in every media that they want to facilitate in their students' learning process. It is very important if the teachers know to use and they are have the skills to use or operate the materials or equipment.